Alright, welcome back to the channel. So we've got, in this one, I'm going to show you how to make one of these. Now this car's been recovered in because it doesn't start, and the first thing I noticed was the instrument cluster doesn't work, and I felt the carpets and they are soaking wet. You'll have to excuse the camera work because I am working one-handed. As you can see, it's fucked. So the DC-DC converter is fried. So what we're going to do is unplug this out of there like that. Get the bloody water out of it, and then if we plug that in there and fit a fuse, it should start. Well, we'll try it without the fuse. It might not have blown the fuse. Key on. No instruments, no radios, just blown the fuse. Right, we'll put a fuse in it. Right, the fuse you need to change is that one there, this one. So they are a bit tight. We'll get some pliers on there. Have them out of there. Right, pop a new one in. Right, let's turn the key on now, see what happens. Right, she should. There we go. And that is the DC-DC converter bypass. And now I'm going to show you how to make one of them. So in order to make one of these, you're going to need the old DC-DC converter. And that is the guts of one that had suffered the same fate as the one I've just shown you. It's not the one out of that car, it's one that I've had kicking around. And you're going to need the connector off of the end of it. So let's melt the solder if I can. It's looking rather dirty, but we'll give it a go. Melt the solder and get that connector off of there. Right, we'll try it with the hot air one and see if that will do it. It's the highest temperature that goes. 500 degrees, so I think that will. Dig something under there to try and prise it up while I'm heating it. It's a bit awkward to do one-handed. I think it will go. Just melting the solder on both sides of the board. That's what's holding it. I got it this side, it's just the other side. There we go. Didn't need to cut it up. Right, next thing you need to do is there's some pins in the back of there, and we only need to keep 2 of them. Right, hopefully you can see that. It looks a bit corroded in there, but it's we can clean it up. The pins you need to keep, as you can see, they are numbered, is 2 and 4. All the rest need to come out. So that's what we're going to do next. Pull the rest of the pins up, keep 2 and 4 in there. So to get the pins out, just use a pair of pliers. Put some light on the subject. And then just pull them out like that. And the next one. And the next one. Right, so 2 and 4 we need to keep. So pull out 1 and 3. That's that one out. There's number 1. And number 3. Yeah. There you go, there's number 3. And then we are just left with 2 and 4 in there. Right, what we need to do now, find something to point so you can see. We need to join this pin to this pin, and we've got to do it with the solder bridge across there. And what I use is one of the old pins. So we need to get rid of this plastic piece here that's blocking the way. And all I do with that, pair of pliers, and just chop it out like that. And there we go, we can now bridge across the two. We'll have to clean them up because there's no way you're going to be able to solder to them. Hopefully that's got it, and it looks like it has. So there we go. That's what you should end up with if it'll focus. So I might even need to get, oh no, I think that's got it. Yeah, looks alright. Now on the Mark 1 version, which you saw at the beginning of this video, I had a convoluted sleeve around the back. It's basically to stop this shorting out on any bare metal that might be in the car. But on this version, I'm going to fill all of this up with hot glue to stop it from shorting out. Basically because I haven't got any of that convoluted tubing left, so. Right, we'll wait for this to warm up and then I'll hot glue it. There we go. That should stop it from shorting out on anything. So there we are, the DC to DC converter bypass. Now, to avoid all the comments of, well, it's fitted in there in the first place, how come it can be bypassed? I'll explain what it does and why it can be bypassed. So, all the while your battery's in a good state of charge, you're not going to notice any difference. The stop-start's still going to work. What can happen is, you know, when you turn the ignition on, the speedo does the sweep, all the lights come on the dash, and that like a self-test. Well, during a stop-start condition, when the car restarts, the voltage drop of when the car is cranking could be enough to cause the instruments to do the self-test, the radio to go off and back on and so forth. And it's there to stop that. And it's called a DC to DC converter because it converts one DC source into another. So basically, when the car goes to crank, the DC to DC converter gets a crank signal and it stores voltage. So when the car goes to crank, it pumps in a bit of extra voltage to avoid that self-test. It's just a comfort thing, that's all. And that's what it does. So it can be bypassed, it can be left out, but if your battery state of charge does drop to a point where when it cranks to restart on a stop-start condition, the instruments may do the self-test. But if you ain't bothered about that, just leave it bypassed or turn the stop-start off. The car's going to behave as normal. And on that note, I'm out of here. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you next time. All the best. Happy New Year.